The thing to understand about theories this time with the Gravity Falls fandom, specifically theories about the identity of the author of the journals, the two things that most people tended to agree on is that the author had, at least on one hand, 6 fingers, and there was generally the agreement that there would be foreshadowing beforehand of who the author was. So most people kind of assumed that there was a very good chance that the author would be someone or related to someone we'd already seen in the show. Which meant that the two big theories, assuming that it was someone we'd met already, the two theories were that it was either Old Man McGucket or Grunkle Stan. There were a few other theories going on, of course, but that kind of already existed as a theory even before Alex Hirsch put this fake image out there to imply that it was Old Man McGucket. And I was definitely in the camp that kind of wanted to go more towards McGucket. So when the image came out, I kind of just was like, oh yeah, I guess I was right. I guess we were right. And we didn't really think about it. And that's not to say that there weren't people who kind of noticed some things that were odd about Grunkle Stan's story that didn't quite add up. Because there were definitely people who thought that maybe he was the author and he knew a lot more than he was getting on, which we kind of knew that just from the fact that he was sneaking into the basement, which we still didn't know what was in the basement. And apparently there's a whole some stuff that I can get into there that I might go into in one of my own videos, but with Stan, the one thing that I noticed, which I did kind of initially write off at first, before I started thinking about it again, is how he looked in terms of the flashbacks. Because we get these flashbacks of him. We get the flashback in Time Traveler's Pig, where we see the guy that everyone assumed was Stan, who opens the door to the Mystery Shack when they go back in time. And then we see in the flashbacks in Dreamscapers, we see him talking about, just him advertising stuff. And I think there was another episode where he had like a hallucinatory flashback when he was back in like his younger years. And I was aware that there were design inconsistencies with how we were seeing Stan in these flashbacks. And I didn't initially think of that as Stan secretly having a twin. I just thought, this is kind of weird. Why does he look inconsistent in these flashbacks? Because he seems like he has a different face shape. Like, did they just have weird inconsistencies in the character design process? What is this? So I think it's pretty easy to understand how, since we had these two theories of, is Grunkle Stan the author or is Fiddleford the author, and also this observation that there are inconsistencies with Stan's appearance, that's kind of what initially started this whole Stanley the secret twin theory, which started up at this time, which I was aware of, and I'm like, I don't know, it doesn't seem like that's the case to me. But I think it's pretty easy to see where someone who's seeing that, oh, there's this theory that it could be Fiddleford, but there's also the theory it could be Stan. And if this theory that Stan has this twin brother is true, whereas his twin brother the secret author who disappeared mysteriously. And I think if Alex noticed that, that's pretty obvious. That's what he was like, oh god, I gotta fix this. And what made him go to create the hoax image in the first place. Because since there was already a theory that McGucket could be the author, it was really easy for Alex to kind of play into that preconceived idea and play into everyone's confirmation bias with this image, because it made it really easy for everyone to just latch onto that. Because I was definitely a victim of that, because I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, McGucket's the author. That makes sense. And there were definitely people who would be like, hey guys, don't show the image because Alex doesn't want people to show the image and it's a leak. And people never listened to that. People would still share it all the time and talk about it all the time. We'd kind of like pretend that we weren't talking about it, but we'd be like, it's the image of McGucket, that one. And so, like, there was, like, hush hush, but not really hush hush about it. I'm sure Alex was glad that everyone just took the bait completely, hook, line, and sinker, but it was pretty smart of him to do that, to play with the fans and kind of take the theories and put it against them.